because it's Thursday and I'm available again. So why not? Let's do a Tarot Thursday. The whole gist behind this show is that I think everybody should have access to spiritual advice. And so if you need an answer to a question, a little bit of direction, a little bit of course, a little bit of path, I'm happy to help you out. It is only a one-card reading though. And so remember, with your questions, you do want to be as specific. I'm not saying that you got to write me Bible passages worth of information, but at least give me enough detail so I know for sure what it is you're needing some direction, needing some course, and needing some path on. Morning, Derek. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Oh, that said, I'd love to hear that. It's a pretty Thursday up here. It's not as brutally cold as it has been for the last little bit, so I think everybody in town right now here is feeling very excited for a little bit more of a relaxed day. Let's throw you a card here just to start off while everybody else starts showing up. Nice, see? Coming around a little bit nicer everywhere. I know this Arctic stuff's been kind of dragging its way down and down and down, and so finding the right way of it's been tricky. So, Derek, bottom card, King of Swords, top card, the Hermit. Almost feels like this goes back to our conversation that we were talking about before, and you just try to find that way to actually work with others and work around with others. It's a completely different dynamic, right? It's a new form of communication. It's a new form of expression. It's a new form of connecting. And when we've lived in our own trust, in confidence in ourselves and ourselves alone for a really long time, sometimes it's really tough to come out of that behavior and go back into working in a larger community and working in a larger flow. So any resistances you have, they're natural. They're exactly what you should be feeling right now, because who you are has led you down to be this path of independent adventurer. But now you're being called and invited to maybe join a group, join a club, form a club. You and I really should double down on that, I think. And so just making sure that we both put in that effort and that time to find ways to be the King of Swords for the moment. Reaching out, communicating, trying to provide something to build the moment and build the future. And together, I think you and I are going to work out some really good things. You've been on my mind a lot the last couple of weeks, especially with everything going chaotic in my own world, because after our conversation about creating a group and a little bit more of a community for the people that we're helping and the people that we're connecting with, I think there's something there that could really help both of us, because both of us, we both want to have that energy, that leadership, that ability to help people. But both you and I suffer a little bit from this energy. And so allowing ourselves to find confidence with others, I think that's going to be one of the key pieces and the key tricks to making this all work. Hello everyone that's floating in and out. I am doing free cards today, so if you are interested, you just got to give me permission and consent in the chat box. It's exactly that, right? Wizards are inherently solitary creatures. They're confident in their own place and in their own energy, and so when it comes time to start working around with others, like when I look at us as a joint, yeah, see right off the bat, it's the defensiveness. We're both so worried about what we're going to really experience and work with one another. But there's so much here of value and growth for us, and it's both wand energy. It's shaping us in our willpowers. It's enhancing us to see ourselves as active components and not just observers to the situations at hand around us. There's a huge potential that comes through it. And allowing ourselves to really embrace that and be a part of that, I think it's opening us up back into community. When we look at what the world's going through right now too, it's isolation concerns. Independence and individuality supremely overtook the idea of community and collectivism. And there has to be a rebalancing of that, but we ourselves have to learn how to be that rebalance first. To not be on the defensive. Yes, hold our ground, but be defensive for the right reasons. We don't want to change our posture, but we also don't want to make enemies of every stick that's in front of us. And it's that trick of making sure that we're allowing ourselves to be accessible and open in that way. Connecting with people, not just so that we can have power over them, but so that we can see their power come through them as a result of being in and around our presence. Empowerment, I think, should be the key phrase. If you want to be a gentleman for the world right now, empowerment of others and empowerment of yourself. I think that's going to be the trick. I'm down. Today and tomorrow, I'm going to be kind of in and around the house while I try to collect what I need to collect before Friday night. So I've got lots of time today and tomorrow. We should absolutely dive in on this. It is free cards today, by the way, everybody. So if there is anyone with an interest in a card, I'm more than happy to draw. Otherwise, me and Derek will just keep, shooting the shit, as it were, and figuring out our things. You do, eh? Okay. Right, we're same time zone. I do have the little with me, but honestly, I can sneak away for an hour or two at any point. What time are you thinking? And again, it is free cards today, so if you are interested in a card, you just got to give me consent in the chat box, and I will absolutely draw you a free card today. 6:30 I can do. I can absolutely do 6:30. And Kat, thank you so much for consent. I will get you a card here. Kat. So the card on top is the top card of the deck. The bottom card, bottom of the deck, it's just sort of the theme around things. Our theme is the lovers. Now, a lot of people like to make that about the romantic tones. I like to keep it at the very simple concept of choice. Choice between what we love and choice between what we lust for. The surface card, the Page of Swords, says that the decision comes now to direct your energy, direct your thoughts, direct who you are as a growing individual towards one of many options. And maybe I would think with the Page of Swords, it's probably education, development, or growth in career, professionalism, and leadership. But I think there's a bigger tone to be taken. Remember, in the imagery is really key with these cards. The sword reaches right out of the picture. The sword is not completely in view. That means the idea itself isn't completely in view yet. You're trying to make a choice and you're looking for all these variables and all these notions, but you won't have a complete picture until you start entering into some of these environments and dealing with some of these experiences. It is to say, Kat, you don't know what it is to be in the desert until you have the sand underneath your feet. And so I don't think you can make an absolute choice right now, but you can choose to experience things. Choosing an experience is a lot different than choosing a path. It's about allowing yourself just enough time to get a sense of the energy, the people, the environment, and realizing if this is really a thing that you want to be a part of or not. If it's too toxic, you'll notice it quite quickly. But if you've made a choice to make it your lifestyle, then escaping that is a lot more difficult. But if you've consciously made yourself aware that you're just sampling it, just taking that small little bit off of the cake to see if it's good enough for you to have a whole slice or not. There's no shame in that. And being able to say, this isn't for me, that's a superpower in the modern era. People don't quite understand that boundaries and creating barriers and putting up those resistances, a lot of that is about recognizing what works for you and what doesn't. If we're not willing to acknowledge that it doesn't work for us, if we're not willing to make that choice to say that this isn't for us, then we're never actually going to allow ourselves to build boundaries that are healthy in the long term. You going through this experience, I hate to say it, it doesn't feel like it's an experience that will be a long-lived one, but it does allow you to understand how you fit, where you fit, and why you reject places that you realize that you don't fit into. It might be a little bit of a twister for winter and spring. Just keep your head high. Know that the power of choice is in your hands. And when you've learned enough, you can choose to exit. You both get the power of choice to enter and to exit. And remembering that power is in your hands is the key thing here. Thanks for joining the show, Kat. If you want anything more, feel free to reach out to me anytime. Sifu had also made a request for a card, so let's get on to Sifu next. No worries, Kat. Always happy to reach out, and like every Thursday, I'll always do free cards, but I do private bookings as well. Happy to teach people spirituality in any format. So honestly, anytime, reach out. So Sifu, the question specifically was card for the career. I could do that. Yep. Let's see what we've got for Sifu's career. Sifu. Okay. Interesting combination. King of Swords and Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords being that bottom card, King of Swords being that top card. And I think you were in while I was explaining it to Kat, so I'll skip the exposition. What I love about this is when you have the two court cards working in conjunction, especially when it's King, Queen, or Page, Knight, you're creating an environment of balance. In the King-Queen balance, it's recognizing that on the surface, we have to be firm and direct with leadership, but in the undertone of everything that we do, we have to be nurturing and caring about the system behind it all. That is to say, if you have an authority figure that is simply masculine energy, it will just push its concept wherever it wants without stopping to consider the effect it is having. It makes a change, and the change is good, the change is done, and we don't go back because the change was good. Oh, but new metrics say that the change was bad. No, it doesn't. That's working as intended. That's what it was supposed to do. It lacks any ability to perceive the environment. And I feel like you have that perception of the environment quite clearly. And I don't know if it's you or somebody else that's having an effect on the environment that's negative, but helping them to realize the differences in approaches might be the best bet. If it is yourself, it's just you recognizing that with some moments you have to push the plan forcibly, but always consider how it's going to affect the big picture. And if it's you dealing with somebody else, they are pushing the idea, and you have to explain to them how it will affect the bigger picture. This is a passive form of resistance. It's setting yourself up to be an obstacle in their path. And unfortunately, that may create struggles, strife, or difficulties. If you don't do it, your environment's going to toxify anyway. If you do it, you're going to develop new skills and abilities of communication within yourself, and you might even potentially save the environment. It remains to be seen. So however you want to interact with this, just make sure that you're looking at it from that duality. Yes, change needs to happen. The King of Swords has to lay out clear, strong ideas and clear, direct path. Decisions need to be made, yes. But you have to make sure that you're always pushing the idea of the environment around it as well. If the community suffers for the change, it's not a good change. If the business flow fails because of the change, it's not a good change. There has to be a balance of that understanding, that communication, and that expression. And as long as it's being talked about, good things can come. But if it's not being discussed and if it's not being addressed, it gets bad really, really fast. The king and queen dynamic, it's either super healthy or super toxic. There is no in between because they're both powerful authorities in their own way. So do your best to make sure that you can find a good way to work with this energy, and don't let it get dragged into that negative space that's just going to unwind and destroy everything going on around you. Good luck with that one, Sifu. It's dual court work. And so you meeting someone that is on your level and in your capacity and just needing to do your best to work with them and not let it turn into in-career warfare. If it's you specifically, though, if you can't think of any person that you're having that kind of conflict, that struggle, or that strain with, then it's you finding the balance of masculine and feminine. The feminine looks after the environment. Okay, I was wondering, the feminine has to look at the big picture and consider what will happen 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road. But the masculine has to have clear, choice, and decision-making power to affect and move things immediately. The balance between those two will make the difference, Sifu. And it's a lifelong skill, if you ask me. But if you can figure out the balance, if you can figure out the flow, then yes, really, really good things come through as a result. Good luck with that one. I hope it shapes out the way that you want it to. And if you've got any more questions, you can always feel free to reach out. Hello, Lunar Poet. Yeah, let's throw you a card. It's a lot of people forget. Specialization is great and fine, but it sometimes makes you too narrow-minded to the other possibilities out there. And so I'm big on finding. I'm absolutely a jack of all trades. Very few specializations. More of a skill set. Everything. Sonia. Okay, so overall environment energy is the Judgment card. And top card is the Ten of Pentacles. It's interesting because you say, I have a big decision to make soon. But when the Pentacles 10 comes into play, it's never really about one individual. It's usually about collective. There's a lot of moving parts, moving pieces, moving things that need to be considered, addressed, and discussed. And if you don't, then everything just sort of explodes in your face. If you do, then it means that the decision isn't really just yours, your own. It's a decision of the community, or something that works through community, or something that balances with community. Okay, fair enough. See, we got to remember it's judgment on the back end. The entire environment is about just calling the truth the truth. It is what it is. This is the straight facts. This is the way that it is. It's like saying, no, I cannot support this purchase because it's going to end up destroying our financial security. It's saying, this animal, it's been with us for years, it's part of the family, yes, but it is in pain, it is in suffering, and we need to let it go. It is acknowledging that one individual alone cannot carry a weight. I cannot finance this entire house. I cannot finance this entire city. I need help. It's collective eyes together to acknowledge the truth of a situation that others may be in denial or avoiding the truth of. If that truth is brought to the table to be discussed as a group together, better things may come out as a result, because the group together now is working with it, affecting it, changing it, adapting it. They're trying to make something happen. If it's not from the truth of it, if it's not the straight cut, if it's not absolution, and that's the thing about the Judgment card, it relates into a tone of absolution. There can be no denial about this. And that's the part that a lot of people overlook with the Judgment card. You are called to the truth. That is the specific key tone for it. You are called to the truth. And that truth has to be addressed as a collective. Now, I could throw a lot of general thoughts in and out there, sure, but I'm going to lay it down just like this. Sometimes we grow so especially comfortable with certain people and certain energies that we just cannot see anything but those people as a part of the situation in the moment. Familiarity creates a community. Truly it does. But if that community itself is not healthy or of good flow or of good nature, then sometimes we just have to speak what needs to be changed and what are the consequences if there is not collectivism upon that change. The starving man at some point will look at his society and say, either feed me or I'm going to steal the food. That just is the way it is. Comes a point where it's all good and noble to be a good and noble person, but if you're starving and the community that you're in is holding you away from food and keeping food out of access to you and denying you that sustainability of life, there comes a point where you're just going to steal it. You're just going to do it. You're just going to change the moment regardless of their input. Be prepared for that kind of situation. To actually have to exercise your will without reservation. And I'm not saying threaten them with it, but they need to understand that if they're not going to be a part of the solution, then they don't get to be in any way, shape, or form critical of the results. Because at that point, you will choose your own results that work for you, not necessarily work for everybody else. That's the twist of the judgment card pairing here. If they don't come to the truth, you have to do what's important for you. And that could be a lot of destruction and annihilation. But your stability is what's important here. You just need to put it all together. I wish you all the luck with that one, because big changes like that are never easy. It is Free Card Thursday, so if anybody would like to throw in a request for a card, you're more than welcome to it. No expectations. Just need your consent in the chat box, and I'll draw you a card. Yeah, honestly, people got to make their choices on a lot of things, and they got to live by them. Very happy to be of service. If you got any friends needing readings, you should send them my way. 48 hours. It is open deck though, so if anybody would like to put in a card request, now is most definitely the time. I'm just going to do a quick share pop. Oh, how I wish it would let me send just straight to my... Hi, Kay. Asking about you and Frank. Sorry about that. Just doing a quick pop. Now, close again. The only issue I have with the word close again is the proximity of gravity is a neat thing. Some people would say that Pluto is close to our sun. Others would argue, no, Pluto's the furthest point. Well, only in our solar system. There's entire galaxies and stars that are farther away from our sun. So really, in the grand scheme of it, Pluto is quite close. In the same way, yeah, this is what I was worried about. In the same way, your world is shifting and changing, and you're finding new people coming in and other people going out. There's transformations that are at hand here. And so you got some shifts that you got to get through, and that's always a good time. It's always fun. I know most people are really, they don't like transformation. Change, transformation, metamorphosis. These are all really dirty words to most people, because it means becoming something other than what you are currently. Most people assume that what they are right now is just fine. They're perfect. They don't need to change. They don't need to adapt. Nothing needs to go in a different direction. They're fine. But the truth is, you are always changing and always going through a certain level of evolution. And so you and this individual, both of you are going through that change. Now, if that change, I'm trying to remember what their name was. Frank. I'm going to cheat. I don't usually cheat, but I'm just curious where Frank's at. Yeah, there's Frank, and he ended up with a judgment card. That's even more fun. Okay, so I could do it in the really casual Frank's going through some crap right now thing, but that's really too cliche. So let's be more on the nose. Frank is being forced to address themselves, and frankly, they're not ready for that. They're not quite in the capacity to really understand what it is that they're facing to. And so You're going to want to do what you can where you can to not push the point when dealing with Frank. Will there be chance encounters? Yes. Will there be opportunity with those chance encounters? Yes. But how close you get is now the question. If you get as close as you were too soon, then the pressure is going to take Frank out of his transformation and slow him down in the change. It's also going to make you feel as though you are something that is the problem. And that's not really the case here. You're just trying to look the feller in the face and be like, what's the matter with you? You're trying to be honest and direct and upfront, and they're just not receiving it. The information's not computing to them the way that it should. So instead, you have to be honest, truthful, but you also have to maintain a certain measure of reserve. We were talking before about how the Queen of Swords, she has to conceptualize the impact that the decisions and choices are going to have on the whole environment. It's not just about personal desire, it's about the whole environment collectively. And so you know that if you do the wrong push, it hurts the collective. Be careful with that. Be gentle about that. Work around it very, very cautiously. Hello, Vancouver. I used to live in Abbotsford. Miss the Fraser Valley. I hope you guys are having a fantastic time out there. With regards to Kay and Frank, just as my finishing note, if Frank is going through this, sometimes you gotta let them just go through their crap. Let them go through their crap. Both of you are coming into a brand new view of what your world is going to be like, and I would love for it to be something that can have both of you in there. So just don't be too aggressive with that pressure, but keep it honest and on the point. Maintain the boundaries that are going to protect you and your environment, but maintain that understanding with them that you're not running away. You're just redirecting the energy so as to not drag them down, but rather be a support that they need in a new way. If both of you can become kind of new evolutions of yourselves, I do think better things are going to come out in the long run for it. But I really don't feel like this is something that you've done, Kay. I feel like a lot of this carries on Frank's back. And so just do what you can to work your way through that. Good luck. Free card day today, LP. So if you're curious and you'd like a card, I just need permission down in the chat box. I'd be happy to draw you something. And good, you're on the right path then, Kay. I love that. I love that. Cool, let's get you in here, Larissa. J and U. Oh, relationships, aren't they so much fun? As the one feller once told me, the heart wants what the heart wants. That just is what it is sometimes. You can't get away from certain connections, certain flows. Now, this is another case where I'm going to cheat and figure out what's going on with Jay as well, too. Okay, so Jay got the Hierophant card. Yeah, I may have taken this to an extreme at one point, but I broke down myself into various bodies and consciousness. And the heart consciousness is interesting in its connectivity, its capacity. If you allow it full liberty, it becomes so open and abundant to a point of frightening a person because it feels like an overextension of intimacy everywhere. When it's kept more exclusively, it can sometimes become very possessive, very shallow, very driven to obsession. And so the heart is a powerful, powerful energy, and how we lens it, how we focus it, how we direct it becomes somewhat of a key construct here. Now, when I look at the J component specifically, I get the Hierophant. Hierophant centers in around concepts of dogma, rigid beliefs, falling into the proper order and following that order to the letter. I initially, like I was trying to draw, hi Gigi, stick around, I'll get you that question. I was initially drawing for Jay directly, but as I look at it more and more, I realize this might be something between the two of you. Because looking at your energies, the specifics there, the Hermit card in the atmosphere, and then the Nine of Pentacles on the surface, um, I wouldn't say that you are as deeply open to others as you would necessarily like to be. And like, I'm trying to think of the best phrasing for it. It's not that you're trying to be standoffish. It's not that you're trying to be distant or unconnected, but you keep things very casual with people until you know precisely what you're working with. And as such, any person that you have had that deep depth with, i.e. Jay, they are way more pronounced in your mind because the effort and the time to build that religion with one another is more established. The concept of what it is to love and be loved, the church in which you are sharing that concept with that other person, is more built up. So I don't think the Hierophant is just an issue of Jay. I think it's the way that you are conceiving of Jay. And maybe some things on Jay's back end that keeps him from being as open with you too. But it makes it so that anything that you do right now becomes highly focused on him there. You right now are sociable, energetic, chatting with people, connecting with people, but you're keeping all that intimacy back. When it comes out towards or around Jay, it comes out like a flood, a rush. And unfortunately, rushes like that tend to break the riverbanks, carving them down and shaping new rivers. If you want Jay back, you're going to have to find a better way to moderate that flow. But why Jay? And that's my only thought that I'll kind of leave you hankering on. Why specifically Jay? If it is a genuine connection and love and there is a genuine respect, then that's all good and fine. But if it's just because of the familiarity, then I would strongly recommend enjoy your time right now, connect with a few new people, not a lot, and not in deep physical or mental intimacy, but just enough to have a good, intelligent conversation and get a sense as to whether their values and beliefs match yours or not. Once you know if the values and beliefs of another person are in good order with you or good balance with you, then you know whether there can be that depth there or not. And it's depth that you're looking for. You're looking for something that impacts and moves you. Jay did it before, and now he's got your fixation. That doesn't mean that there isn't other possibilities. And as long as you're fixated on Jay, no other possibility is going to come up. Yeah, there it is. So Scorpios, a lot of people say scorpions in the desert. I say giant octopus in the water. You guys don't just love. You wrap your tentacles around your partner and you crush them. Most men cannot tolerate the crushing pressure of a Scorpio. If they can create a good, healthy communication dynamic. But because of the intensity of a Scorpio, most of them feel like they have to fight back. And that's where you start running into bad problems. Also, some Scorpios aren't as upfront with their own lifestyle and personality choices. And so if you can be, do be. That way they know exactly what they're dealing with. And if it's out of the realm of them, they can be honest up front. But if they start trying to change you, there's no point in continuing. Flat out. Find the person that accommodates you. Yes, Jay has the familiarity, but I feel like as you socialize, connect, and allow yourself a little bit more expansion in your connection, you'll find both better ways to express your own love, but also either you'll attract Jay or the better than Jay that you're due for. Improve yourself, and along with it comes the better connects. Gigi, asking about being pregnant soon. Let's get Gigi in here next. Larissa, thanks so much for coming out and joining the show. Feel free to pop in anytime. I always do this card draw thing on Thursdays, but I can be booked privately. I am happy to teach and happy to discuss things at all times. Gigi. Hope Gigi's still in here. Gigi asking about getting pregnant. And I should ask, you are trying, right? Perfect. Let's see what we got for you. Okay. Interesting. I should probably hang a sign on my front door that says, we'll pick expert in wizards and difficult pregnancies, because honestly, I know this combination a little bit too well. So, the nature of having children is kind of a deep thing. It's family, it's home, it's the completion of ourselves. It's the continuation of our family line. It's the continuation of ourselves. Every parent has a tendency to put a lot of their own values and beliefs into the children that they've had. This is sort of a subtext to our desire for immortality. Even if we fall down, then our children can be the ones that can pick up the pieces and carry it forward for us. And so when children come into our minds, it's usually centered around something very personal, very prideful, something that makes us feel completed. Your completion isn't necessarily through a child, but when we dream and desire it strongly enough, it feels very much like they go hand in hand. I have been chasing after my own biological children my entire life. My only advantage is being a male and not having to worry about timeline on that, but the walls are very much closing in around it, and I realize that. As such, I have found other ways to kind of help my system. But I don't think that this is what you're going to be looking for. You're not looking to be a step parent. You're not looking to be a help parent. You're not looking to be a volunteer for Big Brothers Big Sisters Club of Canada. You're looking for your own. And so this is where the Lover's card starts to push a little bit on the hard line. Something's not lining up. Something's not connecting. Something's not flowing between you and the partner. Hi, Lauren. I'll keep that saved on the list here. You stick around if you can, and we'll definitely get to that question too. Something's not flowing between the two. You could go out and do some general testing. If it's available and free and covered under your healthcare and insurance, I would recommend it just to check where certain values on yourself and your partner are at. And little things like pH balance. People aren't aware of this, but if the pH balance in the female is too out of line with the balance in the male, the sperm won't survive. And so there won't be a conception. Some of us biologically just don't line up well with other people in our life, and because of that, we can't procreate with them. Sometimes there's been damage done to a male in childhood. Do you know how many times I've taken a ball to the groin? And so it's always been a possibility that things don't work. I was also a cook for a while. A lot of cooks go sterile because we're standing by ovens that are 400 degrees hot. We're standing by deep fryers that are cooking constantly and grills that are always on. We literally cook our own children to death. Sometimes there's an element like that that's coming into play, and unless we look for it, we don't know that it's there. In not knowing that it's there, we then blame ourselves. It's something I'm doing. My diet's not right. My mood's not right. This isn't right. My timing's not right. And it starts to become this blame game upon ourselves. Avoid making it a blame game and make it a solution game. You know, it's not working this way. Let's double check both of our blood works. Blood works say that maybe we should do more of this and less of this, so let's do that. And if it works, great. If it doesn't work, next step. And in vitro is usually the later stages of the progression, but a good family doctor should be beside you in discussing all the options as they go. And if not, reach out to any friends or family that have gone through such processes, as they can be good points of contact for you. It may not be anything that you're doing, but just something that is naturally a part of you or your partner that creates the barrier between you and this opportunity. Trust yourself and you'll see yourself through it. I'm sure of that. But without doing the research and without doing the looking into why things don't line up, you're not ever going to have an answer that you're actually comfortable with. So that's going to be one of your biggest steps here, Gigi. I feel like it's going to be based in on pH compatibility. And the doctors will be the ones to kind of confirm that for sure. Thank you so much for joining and asking the question, though. And keep me posted on how things are going. You can always drop in and shoot me a message anytime. I'm going to move on to Lauren's question now, although I do think Lauren had to step out, possibly. I see some people coming, some people going. Let's see if they make it back in. Of course, it is Free Cards Thursday, so if you are interested, you just got to put in a request down on the bottom. Lauren was asking about Nico. I know for sure Lauren's not in here, is she? Let's check again. Lauren! Unfortunately, it doesn't actually tell me who's actually in. It just tells me that there's 3 people and somebody's not showing. So let's see what happens if I do this. Almost to the point of just start dragging people in as guests when they put in a card request and try to run away. I don't know if it'd be the right way to do it or the wrong way to do it, but it'd be a way. Lauren, asking about Nico. Because I'm also going to post this up on YouTube after the fact, and so she can always catch it there too. Because that's the trick. I know people can't always... Well, no, it's down to 1 now, and it's just you. There was a person, user, something that was in for a little bit. So, Lauren. The long and the short is, no. The 2 of Pentacles on the bottom end, it's a situation of fluctuation, change, movement, and mobility. And so, overall, do I think Nico is going to come back? Not really. It seems that his focus is in other directions, other paths, other forms, other worlds, and it seems very much like you have to be kind of doing the same thing for yourself. You'll notice in both these cards, one person, individual, solitary, singular. I don't see a strong indication, unfortunately, that they're going to be able to make their way back to you in the way that you would want them or in the way that you would accept them. Something will change them, or they themselves see themselves as so different than what you see them as that the compatibility and the ability to mesh these 2 worlds just isn't there. It's almost egotistical in a way. They feel that it shouldn't be this way, it shouldn't be this path, it shouldn't be this course, because in their opinion, it just doesn't belong. It just doesn't deserve to be in their world. And so you're going to want to be really, really careful if they do come back around. You are going to also not put yourself out there on them for a silver platter. You got to be recognizing that they're treating you less as a human and more as just an object being dragged back and forth, up and down, in whatever direction that they chose to in that moment. I would say focus on your own world, focus on your own path. Get your direction on what's going to be good goals and dreams for you that do not include him and his goals for you. And through that transformation and movement away from being his Lauren and into being your own Lauren, your own person, your own flow, you're going to see a lot more empowerment come through. Confidence, honestly, in your own identity, confidence in your own empire. And I think these are the 2 biggest things that are going to be necessary to get things moving along onto a better path forward. If you can find that path, if you can find that course, good things come out of it for you, Lauren. But it's just a matter of putting yourself as the priority in your own world. Not Nico. Put yourself as the priority so that you can actually have the life that you want, not the life that somebody else wants for you. Good luck, Lauren. I'll get that to you on the replay on YouTube later. Which means it is, once again, an open deck. If anybody would like to put in a card request, you're more than welcome to do so. Today's requests are free. Every Thursday, well, Thursday morning show, I do a free show to make sure people have access to spiritual communication, questions, a little bit of confidence, a reminder that None of you are out here alone and stuck in the world without any other people to rely upon. This is the community that you can trust. Will support you and be there for you whenever you need it, as much as we can. Certainly can't ask me for money, but you can always ask me for a perspective. And perspectives sometimes help you to realize yourself in a bigger way. Once again, it is open deck right now. So if anybody is interested in a card, feel free to request. I'm going to do it. All right. So the share's gone out. It is open deck if anybody is interested in a card. All you got to do is give me permission, specifically consent to draw you a card. I go about it that way for one specific reason. I also want to do something just so that I can flash this to myself later. I get a lot of people that go out and their whole idea, there's my flash, tell me when to record. They reach out and send you a message of, oh, the spirits and the ancestors have a message for you. We must communicate. We must talk. And a lot of these people are promoting the idea that divine is connecting with them to bring messages to others. Yes and no. See, for communication, there has to be consent. The odds of a spiritual guide reaching to somebody else and saying, hey, could you come communicate to my person for me, is actually really, really quite low. Very low, in fact, nearly zero. Because to be called to spiritual duty, but to not actually commit to the duty as a spiritualist, but committing to it as a business person, means that you're now making it about monetary gain and financial empowerment. And you're making it so that the person whose spirit guide, quote unquote, contacted you has to now pay for what their spirit guide did on their behalf. Something in there doesn't make logical sense. One, a spirit guide is not going to reach out to a person that's that greedy, frankly, period, full stop. Your spirit guide is not going to reach to somebody that's going to charge you $2,000 to get a talisman that's going to protect you from evil spirits and darkness. That's just not going to happen. And so making sure that you're acknowledging that your own guide is not going to throw you under the bus and is instead going to attract a person to you that is worthy of you. If someone comes up with a word for you, a free word, that word makes the difference. And you have to allow yourself to receive the word. The word comes for free, and allowing it to come for free is key. I saw Lauren pop in. Hi, Lauren. Glad you made it back. I did draw your card earlier, and we can discuss it again now because I mostly remember it. But alternatively, I do have a replay that I throw up on YouTube after the fact because I always want to make sure people can get their information when necessary. It sucks when you get internet dropping and things like that. Would you want to watch the replay on YouTube later, or would you want me to discuss it again really quick here for you? Yeah, because it was 2 and 2. Where's the other 2? Come here, my other 2. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, we could do that. So the surface card was the 2 of Wands. The subsurface card, there you are, 2 of Pentacles. So the situation, it's actually one of fluctuation, change, adaptability, and flow. Things aren't on even ground. Things aren't on stability. There is no proper order. There is no proper balance. Take care, Lunar. Be safe, be well. Because of that fluctuation and imbalance, the person, I don't feel like Nico is actually operating with your best interests or your best flows. I think Nico is operating more from the idea that this is their world, they control it, and I think you have to do somewhat the same thing, Lauren. Bleep. Hi, Bleep. Stick around. I'll draw you a card. We can talk. So, Nico is looking at his world, his possession, his control. He just wants to do it his way. His way or the highway is basically the long and the short of it. I think you should do something similarly. I don't think you should be waiting on for Nico and pining for him, but I think instead you should be focusing on your own goals, dreams, and desires, and let Nico somewhat fade away. If he really wants to come out and reach out to you, that'd be all good and fine, but it's got to come from a genuine place. Not because he's unhappy and he knows that you're in a quick comfort, or that he's falling down and you always made him feel better, so he tries to find that comfort from you. It's not fair to use you for his own personal gain, especially when he's not giving any of that energy or any of that return back. The concern stems also too that both of these cards show individuals standing alone. A lot of this is about you being able to stand alone from him as well, not making yourself dependent on needing him around or craving him, but rather seeing yourself as your own nation, your own empire, your own confident person that can be what you want to be and not what somebody else is trying to make you into. You don't have to bow to Nico's desires, nor do you have to wait for him. You just simply have to allow yourself to take control of your life, your direction, and your course, and do whatever you want for you, not for anybody else. That way you can move yourself away from the attachment feeling that you might have with him and move more into attachment with yourself. Love, adoration, and blessings pouring from you for you, because you should be your best gift to yourself first and foremost. That way, nothing's being wasted on anybody else. It's just your energy for you. And that's the trick here. Make your energy entirely for yourself again, Lauren. And that way better things will come through as a result. I appreciate that you were able to make it back in. And again, yeah, I do replays up on YouTube at Lopic Magic House there as well. So if you want to catch the first go I had at it, you can definitely go take a look-see at that. No worries. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. Keep fit and have fun. So it is an open deck right now for cards, if anyone would like to make a request for a card. And the cards drawn today are free, at least during this show. And questions can be specific, questions can be general. Hi, Kylie. Communication and reconciliation for Patrick and you. Let's take a look into this for you. Kylie. Yes, and probably. It's a good pairing, actually. It's the Page of Swords on the back end, which just creates an environment for communication, which is wonderful. It's what you wanted in the first place, and that's why I say, is there going to be communication? Yeah, there's going to be communication for sure, for sure. Hi, A. Welcome to the place. Oh, you take the Page of Swords? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's staring you down right now. My big thing with the Page of Swords is always recognizing that the sword is bigger than the card. The idea, the concept, the thought, the communication, it's bigger and harder to do than we actually realize. Stalking would make some level of sense. Absolutely. Leah, love the question. Stick around. We'll absolutely draw something for you in a little bit. So because the concept is so out of proportion, you got to make sure that if there is that communication flow, that it's going slowly, carefully, cautiously. And that's even more compounded by the Seven of Pentacles coming up on the surface. Now, here's why I say maybe on reconciliation. When I see the Seven of Pentacles, I see the pile of laundry that starts in one corner of our house and then gets moved to another corner of our house. And we say, wow, I did laundry. But we didn't really do anything now, did we? We just moved a pile from one place to the other. In the same way, when you guys do talk, a problem comes up and the answer is typically, yeah, but you did this. That's not actual communication. That's bickering. That's debating. That's ultimately it's victimizing the self to make it seem like what we did was appropriate because you did something first. And there's no balance to that. There's no growth in that. There's no healing in that. So I'm not convinced that the reconciliation is going to come the way that you want it to. Hi, Robin. Thanks for joining the show. I do not think that there's going to be that realization, let's call it the realization, that there's something that needs to be fixed. Instead, it's going to be just that moving of the pile back and forth. Because of that, I really wouldn't recommend trying to rebuild those things. If he is stalking you literally and it's in a threatening manner, there comes a point where you just got to tell a person, go away before I involve the cops. After that, no contact. If you're going to turn it over to them, you don't reach out, you don't make yourself a part of it ever again, and that's how you wean them off. Stalkers appreciate the attention, and so if they manage to get any attention from you, okay, so he's just perusing then. As long as it's not dangerous, not threatening, that's all good and fine. It means he's pining and he's lamenting, but that doesn't mean that he's thinking any better of you. It may mean he's just gratifying himself on your image. So realistically, if it really does start causing an issue, just block him and let it be. If it starts to make you feel like you're being possessed, taken, like it's becoming more of an exhibition show for him, cut him off. And make sure you cut him off completely, because you're not here to be his object of obsession. You're here to be your own individual, doing your own thing in your own way and in your own flow. And that's how it should be. Wonderful to meet you, Kylie. If you got any other questions or any other issues, shoot me a message anytime. More than happy to connect. I teach, I tell, like I do private tarot sessions as well and everything else. So hit me up anytime. All right. I've got a question for you from you. And there was another one in there, I thought. Did I miss that? Leah. Yes, Leah was asking about a raise for the casual position. We can definitely work something out. Leah. So Leah's next. I've got your question up right after that. Stick around if you can, and if you can't, I always put the replays up on YouTube, because sometimes I know life gets busy and it's hard to stick around for everything. So you can find me on YouTube as well at Lopik Magic House. LOPIKMH is usually the short form link. If I did it right, that was. Leah asking about a raise at the casual job. Well, what the deuce is this? This is not a typical response. I gotta ask first, is this casual job a seasonal job? Just because, like, it's... There's something changing, period. There's something changing, period. And I feel like this isn't just about the job. I feel like this is more about the bigger picture of finances and what's going on the back end of things. And so I'm going to go full intuitive for a moment here. Bear with me. You're enjoying the environment that you're working in, and the casual nature of it definitely does work well for you. But back end in your rest of your life, there are issues and concerns that are growing up to a point that they have to be addressed. And your best option would be, yes, a raise from this business so that I can continue to work here, keep where I'm familiar, keep where I'm happy, but not have my back end life problems explode in my face. And that is the hope and dream for most of us, to be honest. Finding a place that we're happy, but supports the rest of our life at the same time. Most of us don't ever get a job or a place or a setup like that. But because of the casual nature, because of other elements that might be at play as well too, whether that be economic or personal, the idea of a raise, it's not so much an ask for, it becomes more of a negotiate for. And so if you go about it in the Oliver Twist way of, please sir, can I have some more? It's going to be probably a no. If you go at it with the, hey, I've been doing this, and I'm trying to increase my skills with this. I feel like my value has gone up, and I would like to see my compensation go up as well. Would you consider it? Shape it and frame it before you ask for it, so that they really realize that you're not just coming for extra handout, but you're coming realizing your own abilities are growing. The acknowledgement of your own abilities, the acknowledgement of your own growth, the realization, Leah, that you are becoming better at what you're doing, helps you then to have the confidence that if they say no, the next big choice that you have to make, and that is going out and possibly finding that other career, other job, other place that will provide what you need, going out and doing that. But you go out instead not diminished, because you built everything up around your new ability and your new confidence. It's a little bit of a tricky brain game, because when we go in asking for something and we're rejected, we feel like we're being punished. When we go in negotiating for something with what we know is of value, then when that value isn't respected, it's not us, it's them. And it helps to build that barrier between our own confidence in ourselves and the world that tends to try to grind us down wherever it can. So, could you ask for a raise? Yes, but go at it from negotiation viewpoint. Frame it with what you've developed for skills, how you've improved, what's going on as far as who you are as an asset, and that should help them to realize that there's a justifiable reason to your query, and should make the conversation work just a little bit more smoothly for you, Leah. Good luck on that one. I feel like it's like there's a lot of changes happening in and around your world, so just make sure that you are holding on to what does feel comfortable. Don't change too much too fast. A is asking about an opportunity to work overseas, make money overseas, specifically this year. Let's take a look-see. And it is open deck after that. I have nobody on standby, so if someone would like to put in a card request, now is definitely the time. Making money overseas for A. Okay. I'm going to say casually yes. Casually yes. So the 9 cups being the bottom card does tell me that there is some satisfaction, some success. The satisfaction specifically, I think, comes from being able to get overseas or get visibility or connections or increase your influence in such environments. It's about seeing yourself expanding into what you know you can be and recognizing your capability, rising, not lowering. Sitting with the satisfaction that you've got the skills, you've got the looks, you've got the ability, it's there. It's the 2 of Pentacles on the top that makes me wonder about what's actually going to be the result here. Do I think with that being there that it's going to be like money, coins, mad cash? Not exactly. And the fluctuation could be either A, the environment that you go to make the money takes the money at the same time. For example, some people, there's some agencies out there that invite models out, but once the model's there, they have to pay their own hotel, their own travel, their own food. There's no real compensation for those things. In fact, there's no real compensation at all besides being seen. And so you want to make sure you're really looking at the contracts very carefully to know whether they're actually bringing you in to help you grow, or bringing you in to rinse and throw you out, take you for your photos, and then move you along so that there's something better coming their way. So be really, really, really careful on where you actually land yourself. If it's reputable, stable, and providing additional compensation, then yes, you will make the money. But you'll have to make sure that you scrutinize them to find those right ones. Certain areas overseas will be more successful than others. Maybe start doing some research, throw some leaflets out that way, a few hashtags, hashtag UK, hashtag Germany, or wherever it is that you want to land yourself, and start putting the directions over in that path. Dilpreet, I've got your question on deck. I'll get to you next. If you do that research first day, it'll give you a lot more stability as you make the next steps in. And then it will become a question of managing the money properly. Not just managing the opportunity, but managing the money so that money goes to paying yourself first, then to paying your bills, and then to whatever wonderful, frivolous things that you want to get into, because everyone deserves a few of those things. Robin, I've got you on deck as well too, right after Dilpreet. I'll be honest, I think almost everybody is feeling that blockage right now. Almost all of my clients, almost all of my business friends, even myself. Like, I could tell you guys some horror stories right now. For me, I'm an old man now. This is my second or third time going through this period. It sucks. And I really, really wasn't prepared enough for it beforehand. But we get a small bounce back in the next year or two. We just got to apply our willpowers against it. And if we do the work, we will get the reward. For you, the work is the research, the connecting, and putting your image in the right environment. If you advertise yourself to somewhere like Saudi, the image will be taken advantage of in some way. Same thing with certain UK firms. I feel like if you go more Northern Western European, it'll go well. Eastern European could be dicey. And it's just things like that. Do the research, explore where you want to put yourself, and then land yourself there directly. In doing so, you accomplish your goals, your dreams. It becomes your thing. I wish you all the luck with it. And I was wondering about that too, right? And like, I know everything Middle Eastern is getting a little bit up and down. Saudi, it's tricky, and it really does land on who you connect with. If you connect with the core, then yeah, you'll make money, absolutely. But you'll also be theirs. If you connect with other locations, I know there was once a while ago much more photography options and modeling options and agency options in Iran, but that time has long since passed. And I personally haven't really explored much outside of those. I'm sorry to say. So let me know what you do actually come up with. I absolutely do love hearing what happens. So I'd love to hear where you end up at. Dilpreet asking about 2025, and then I've got Robin on deck after that asking about Paul. Dilpreet, 2025. No worries. Reach out anytime. Always happy to be a part. Dilpreet. Okay, Dilpreet. So you've got on the bottom end of things the Justice card. So something's reshaping for you. A new balance, a new form, a new person, as it were. You put yourself up for measure and found certain things lacking. Or when you evaluate certain parts of your life, they don't really feel all that satisfying. There's things that you just want to see come to be much better than they are right now. And that's beautiful. But on the surface, the Page of Cups tells me that you're really not quite sure how to reach out for these things. It's a little bit awkward. It's a little bit nervous. It's a little bit anxious, anxiety-inducing, because you know there should be a better way for you to embrace the world, but how do you offer that cup to people? How do you share that part of yourself in such broad ways? And, well, awkwardly. It may seem a little bit counterintuitive, but going out and being rejected, laughed at, mocked, it teaches you something. It teaches you, first off, which people actually have good intentions and which people don't. It teaches you also what you do actually feel comes from you. I find a lot of people will adapt themselves based upon the community that they're with, but through mockery of what is actually important to you, you start to realize what you would defend in yourself. People make fun of me for my imagination, but I'll defend that in tooth and nail. Make fun of me for wearing mismatched socks? I really don't care. And it's there that we start to recognize what's of value to us and what's not. You can't be afraid to put your feelings out there and connect with people for fear of rejection. You have to go through that rejection to learn what you would protect of yourself and what you would make more important for yourself. Thus, this should be your main focus in 2025. Connecting with new friends, connecting with new family, connecting with new businesses, connecting with new community. If you have been taking the walk down one path, then you try another path that's adjacent or similar, because that one path, it isn't providing the emotional satisfaction. It's not measuring up to the life that you want to live. And depending where you're at in life too, this might be the perfect opportunity for it. 20s, you're still learning who you are in society anyway. Early 30s, you're positioning yourself for your successes. So I would honestly say, embrace the awkwardness, push into it, lean into it. And when the hot flash moments happen in the cheeks, when you're feeling flushed and upset and embarrassed, remember what it is that you're most embarrassed about. That is what you truly value. If you're not getting embarrassed, if you're laughing with them rather than against them, then whatever they're making fun of doesn't matter. It's just an awkward moment. And if you can lean into your own awkwardness, if you can lean into your own naivety and innocence, and it becomes something cute. It becomes endearing of you rather than being repulsing. What might be pushing people away or keeping you feeling in that slightly isolated state is the fear of making mistakes. When we fear mistakes too much, we don't try genuinely, and people pick up on that. So make sure that you're putting in the idea that, awkward or not, you can have some fun with this. You just got to be willing to go through the pressure of the moment and allow yourself to have a few embarrassing mistakes. Good luck, Dilpreet. Stay safe, stay well. Robin, asking about Paul. So, when people ask about other people coming back, it's always a big, tricky one. Because connections are tricky. And is Paul the family dog? Is Paul a partner? Is Paul a married partner? Is Paul a family member? A friend? Who is Paul, Robin? The Lovers card are at active play today. Okay. I'm going to draw a card on Paul just so I've got... Wow. Okay, I take it back. I give you full credit and props for being a little bit emotionally jilted on this one, Robin. It makes sense. My big thing in my tarot telling is probabilities. If I draw a single card, the probability of it being a court card is 22 out of 72. If I draw 3 court cards, the probability is much lower. But here we are with, a major arcana card, major arcana card, major arcana card. This one is impacting you big. It feels life-changing. It feels like it's destroying your concept of reality, of spirituality, and everything else. This feels very, very, very intensely, and I am so sorry. My original questions were not to make light of situation with Paul, but just to make sure that I was getting the right perspective and the right bearing on it. Paul's card was the Empress. Your 2 cards, the situation is the Sun. The surface card is the Lovers. Now, the Lovers for me is not about fated love. And this is where I get into fights with some other readers, because a lot of other readers are like, oh, it's your twin flame, it's this, it's that. No, I cannot frame the Lover's card as being fated love. And so I will not ever give that power through the card for that. To do so is to say to you that you have to stay with this person. And sometimes staying with a person, it's forcing the will. Violating the free will is a mistake in spirituality, and I just can't walk down that path. What I can say with the Lover's card, though, is that it is the power of choice for what we love, or choice for what we lust for. Something that has a good relationship of love with us is a give and take dynamic. It empowers, it heals, it helps us to grow, it helps us to feel more fully and more wholly ourselves. It enriches us deeply. Something that we lust for becomes more of an obsession, a craving. We need it. It has to stay in its place. It can't change. It can't move. It has to be constant and forever that way. And so when we look at these two options of love and lust with the Lovers, it really does come down to our choice of whether we want to give ourselves to that which reciprocates the energy, or do we want to give ourselves to that which consumes the energy? Do we need it, or do we just want it? The growth with Paul, I think, is part of what makes it such a dire situation. The sun in the atmosphere, it can represent a possibility of family, pregnancies, children, new opportunities of growth, marital bliss, and satisfaction. And so there's two tones even here saying that it's not just about you and him, it's also about the kids. It's also about the family. It's also about the very big picture. For whatever reason, Paul is struggling with his concept of how that family energy should work. And I know I'm working only on 3 cards here. I might be cheating a little bit intuitively, but my gut instinct is that there's a little bit of a power struggle between you and him. The core of it is that you know that you should be the authority in life, and I agree with you, and whatever his upbringing or past is, he doesn't see it that way. And so how the two are viewing the relationship is different. One viewing it as controlling and stifling and difficult, and the other viewing it as uncooperative, resistant, and not bonded on the team focuses. This hasn't been this way forever either. This feels like it's just a result of something that has Paul scared to crap. And maybe that is the pregnancy, the children, the family, the whole powerful nature of all of it. Whatever it is that has him afraid, he's got to face that first. Until he actually stops running and turns around to face it properly, no, it's not going to get better. And from your side of it, you can't wait forever for him to come out of it. You could, but at some point here, you're going to be keeping yourself clinging on to a ghost if he chooses not to come back. And so I'm not encouraging you to abandon the relationship, but I also cannot encourage you to wait forever for this person. Remember, I keep coming back to talk about the Lover's card and the power of choice that comes with it. At some point, you are going to have to make that choice as to whether it's still love or if it's transformed into lust, and it might be time to let it go. This, we're talking all year. I have a worrying concern that Paul right now is hiding himself in either substances or energy of activity to try and distract himself from you. And there's just definitely a lot of shaky ground for both of us. If you can redirect your energy to not need him, but be willing to work alongside with him when he does return, and then focus specifically on family, stability of home, stability of yourself, I feel like that's your best option and your best choice right now. Because it's going to be at least another month or two before he even starts coming back to communicate well. And even when he does, it feels like there's always something that's pulling him away. And I don't think he knows what exactly that is yet. He's aware that he's being dragged on, but I don't think he realizes that it's himself that's dragging him down. I think he wants to blame something else. And at some point here, guys just gotta own themselves. They have to be honest about what it is that they're really doing to themselves and others around them. So, I wish you all the luck. This one is this is an intensity thing. I do believe in soulmates. I don't believe in twin flames. I do believe that you two have some very deep connected energy, but that does not mean that you are destined or held to be in his life forever. Yeah, if he's not happy with himself, if he's not comfortable with himself, and especially if you're looking at bringing children or family into that dynamic, it becomes a I'm not ready for this, I can't do this, I'm not worthy of this kind of spiral. I do think that he has some bad habits as well too that he needs to remedy. I don't know if it's substance, I don't know if it's flesh, I don't know if it's ideology, I don't know what exactly it is, but it prevents him from being fully open and intimate with you. And until that barrier is gone, it's really, really hard. It's really, really hard. Change has to come over a period of time. If a person is the same person all spring and the same person all summer, then come the fall, they are going to be the same person. If a person is putting in efforts and you're seeing them rise and fall, have ups and downs, failures and successes, then they are changing. But it's got to be consistent. Changing a little bit during the spring, changing a little bit during the fall. Summer, sorry. Otherwise, it's just pretty words, right? There has to be something that demonstrates the change, the growth, and the transformation. Slightly hypocritical of me to say that, but honestly, I'm doing my best, so I will take what I can get. Yeah, go ahead, eh? It's fairly quiet right now, and I think I'm going to start winding it down pretty soon anyway. Anytime, Robin. Always feel free to hit me up. I'm always here. And if you like, I don't know if he's into these things and would be down for a couples reading, but couples reading is one of my most favorite things to do. Definitely hit me up for that one if you want. But otherwise, reach out anytime. We can definitely see if we can do some more work for you. Yeah, my coffee's starting to get cold, so it's definitely almost time to call it a day. But A, you had a question. Well, define black magic. There's a couple different breeds of black magic, let's be honest here. I'm not going to do this one with a tarot card, if that's okay. Babelli, if you want a card, now's definitely the time to ask, so I'm going to close this up pretty soon. But first, let's talk about this black magic thing. Black magic is any magical form that looks to exert force against others. Now, when you stop and think about it, almost all forms of magic are applying some level of force. It's only when you start using that force in a means that is dominating, destroying, or hurting others with the intention of cruelty, of malice, with murderous intent. This is what I will categorize specifically as true dark magic. You're doing it not just because you want to have a clear path on your way to work. You're doing it because you want somebody to suffer on the way to work. That level of magic has to be acknowledged by the user before it can be removed from the user. You cannot save another person unless their will is behind you saving them. If they have not acknowledged that what they did was bad, you cannot help them find absolvement or resolution to that, because they are still actively practicing the dark energy by thinking that what they did was justified. You can preserve yourself, you can preserve other parts of the energy bloodline, but for that relative, they have to be willing to change and adapt their thinking to realize that that exercising of force was a mistake. They died? Shit. Then it's Divine's problem now. Did it or died? Which one? I'm really, really big on making sure that people are using their energy appropriately. And so, like, when it comes to... I get that sometimes we throw a curse. Did it in 2023. Okay. Yeah. And, well, my favorite question whenever someone says that is, did it work? Like, yeah, playing with it is going to leave a mark on your soul regardless, so sorry about that. Did it even work? And if so, fine, abuse the system, but it'll always come back around. Because at the end of the day, it's equal exchange. Energy is neither created nor destroyed, it just transforms. And so if you suddenly got a new energy, it had to come from somewhere. And at some point, it's going to get called back there too. If see, now it's kind of all over the place. That's fair. That's fair. I was hitting most of my blockages actually through 2024. Started mostly for me in 2023. Honestly, if we want to be honest, started even earlier than that, but that's because I'm an old man that made some really dumb choices. I think your biggest blockage at 22, the body starts slowing down its development. You're 3 years away from being completely finished. So you're just at the tail end of growth and everything else. And I do not believe that your energy would be influenced by this relative doing this thing. It's their choice. It's their choice to practice that energy and practice that darkness. And so for it to be applied upon you, you would have had to be a willing participant or willing recipient. I don't get that vibe off you. Like, yeah, I don't get that vibe, and I think you're probably going to be energetically okay. No stressings, no stressings. The reality of it simply is a lot of people put a lot of stock on the bloodline and the family line being interwoven. No, it is your choice what you take and what you don't take. It is your choice the life that you live. Any results that you have happen to you is a result of you and you alone. One way or the other, you create every experience that you have. And as long as you're willing to recognize that, understand that, and work with that, yeah, we don't want to see people around us getting hurt by other people's negligence. But when it comes to spiritual activity, one, it only has power if you have faith in it. And two, you can typically only apply energy towards yourself. The ability to apply energy towards others denotes a person to have some level of authority, and no human has authority. None of us live long enough to have authority. None of us conceive broadly enough to have full authority. We are just iterations of something greater than ourselves. And Under that, we are immune to anything. For if you cannot do it to the source, you cannot do it to us. So you'll be okay. I use Bob for my God. It satisfies the Christian context of being the same, coming and going. Bob is the same both ways. It's a few bad jokes, honestly, all around. Bob says hi. Bob likes you. Bob will make sure that you are okay. You just can't let any fear slip into that and change who you are. Sal. Let's flip this camera back over because I don't think I'm gonna, well, we'll see if we get some more traffic going in today or not, but I think we're pretty close towards being done for the day. Throw it out there for me. I got no issues with Bob being shared around the world. Change it a little bit. Make it something that other people can embrace, engage, and enjoy, right? Because at the end of the day, it's all concepts are meant to be shared. That's all that we're looking to do, is share the ideas that we have so that others can take them and do something more with them down the road. This is the procession of humanity in time. And as long as we all do it together, we're doing it well. Like that. My favorite pastime is collecting smiles. And so if I can collect another one, then I know I'm doing all right. Thank you very much for that. And thank you to all participants who joined the show today and asked for a card. Always happy to provide services. Me and my buddy Derek are talking about doing a joint live later on this evening. 6:30 Mountain Time is what we're shooting for. And so if you want to pop back around and see what we're cooking up for that one, it would be most appreciated. Aside from that, enjoy your Thursday afternoons. Be safe, be smart. It's chaotic time periods right now, but that doesn't mean that anything's going, that doesn't mean everything's going away. It just means that things are changing. And as long as we can work on the change with ourselves, good things will come out as a result. You can always track me down on Facebook too. Lopic Magic House there as well. Instagram. Trying to get onto Twitch and YouTube a little bit more, but half my problem is I'm a little bit too lazy, unmotivated, uninspired. But we're getting there. We're getting there. And good people like you help to make it actually work worthwhile. If you can find me a script for a guided meditation, I will absolutely go for it. That's voice memos and voice chats are probably going to become one of my next big offerings. Just things for people to listen to. Should start a podcast specifically, but never know what I'm going to say. Anyway, now I'm dribbling, and so I should probably get myself moving along here. So thank you very, very, very much for joining me today. I want to start reading the guided meditations. I want to start providing them. I want to start being the one delivering them. And so I'll listen to them for sure. But I need a script. I need to write down an actual script. Hi, Lily. Yeah, okay, we'll do that one quick before I log off. They'll think of you. I don't know if they'll necessarily... Well, King of Cups can sometimes mean communication and connection, but the emotions are really high right now. What are they getting up to, or what are they doing, or are those emotions with you? If you can trigger into those emotions, then yes, you will get your phone call. But otherwise, they've got some big events or something going on right now that just has a lot of their attention, a lot of their focus. And you're going to have to do what you can, Lily, to make sure that you get a little bit of that attention on yourself as well, too. A little bit of standing out in a way, appearing in their mind, appearing in their thoughts, or just, hey, popping up as a text message. I'm sure you'll find a good way to make it happen. Kamlesh, heart-to-heart meditation. Okay, I'll start there. Let's screenshot that so I don't forget it. I'll start there and we'll see what we can do from that. But I'm going to go have some lunch. And then, yeah, 6:30 Mountain Time. So in about 7 hours, we'll be back on with Derek doing a co-hosting situation for the first time. It'll be fun. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Take care. Stay well. And goodbye for now.